Hi, welcome back to the channel and the snow giving away just when this was filmed. My Comet S2 has been like this for a while. It's a sort of generic GT3 RS build, but it's mainly been used as something to do my paint to sample colours on, and obviously for the garage tour I wanted something better. And I thought the 911 ST has to be that car. Now I've got some cinematics at the end of the finished car, and I'll use that to tell you a little bit about the real car if you don't know it already. But for now we need to get in and get this thing built. The big feature of the build is the Shore Blue paint, which I've had a second go at since the PTS video it featured in, and I think this current one is a lot better. All the performance and bulletproof tyres etc. up to you. Onto the front bumpers. You'll be aware that the ST came out sometime after the 911 version that this S2 is based on. But that said, the performance bumper is not too bad. It's got those inlets there. It's the closest we've got anyway. When it comes to the rear bumpers, none of them are really right. They're much further away than the front bumpers actually are. However, the vented SR rear bumper that I'll come on to in a second, to me it's quite close. It gives some detail. It gives the little side vents by the back wheels. This one here. So in the end that's the one I've gone for, but none of that great. On the exhausts I prefer the first of the turbo exhausts. I think it has the least exposed manifold and the pipes are about the right shape. For the fenders who just want to go stock, obviously we don't need any of that. And the fog lights are really just for building sort of Dakar or rally type cars, so we don't need that either. No headlight covers. When it comes to the hood, no catches of course. There are a number of hoods on the car that aren't quite right. I'm really looking for those two inlets here at the front. They're very distinctive and very much not available. As you flip on down, that SR spec hood here, that piece here was on, I think it was the 997 GT3 RS. I'm not too sure if it was on later ones, can't remember. But you know, that's the nearest we've got to having two vents at the front and a bit of detail elsewhere on the hood. As you see, nothing else really works. I can't take those two knacker ducts there as being two vents. They're far too far back. So the SR spec hood it is. For the interior, I really want it all pretty much stock, to be honest. It is a road car after all. Seats, well this car we had racing seats, but I think we're going to go stock. You can possibly move into some of these painted sports seats. I mean, none of them quite look like the real seat. So I shall leave it to you, but I'm just going to go stock. Steering wheel stock. Roll cage, no, not on this car. For the headlights, I think they look pretty good stock on this one. You could put car meat on. Now, for the livery, let's come back and decorate the car at the end when we've got the colour and it makes more sense. For the plates, I'd just rather remove the front plate, to be honest, and for the license plate. We're going for a lighter coloured car, so I'm going to go for a lighter coloured plate on there. We'll do all the spraying in a minute. For the roof, we don't want any of these roof accessories, and we just want the stock painted roof. For the skirts, now at the moment I'm on performance skirts, and I had a look at all this earlier, and I think performance skirts is the one to go for. We have a bit of a shape in here that's not dissimilar to the shape of the other skirt. Whilst there should be a bit more black here, what we do have is the black of this bit lining up with the black of this bit, which is basically what the ST does. So I'd actually just stay on performance skirts, but you know, a lot of the skirts are quite subtle and suitable. For splitters, this is slightly sad. We have nothing okay, too big. We don't have canards on the ST. This, which you can make work on some sort of race cars and some of the bolder cars, but it's not going to work here. And then this, so what we can't have is just a small piece up here, small piece of plastic with a relatively subtle splitter. So I think we'll stay with carbon splitter, at least for the subtlety. Spoiler is pretty simple, we just don't want a spoiler, so all the way down to Smooth wingless deck lid. No sun strip. Suspension. I honestly think the ST is about here at Sport. I'm just staying a touch lower. Now for the wheels, been through them all again, but really the wheels that we have on here at the moment are pretty much the closest. They're in the Sport category. They are the Synthetic Z. Now we want to paint them in frost white because I want to show you an alternative wheel, which is in high end, and it's the Cheetah RR. Now the only reason I think this is a good alternative is this, all the metalwork on this wheel is a bit chunkier than it is on the Synthetic Z. We still have parallel spokes, I mean, okay, too many sets of them, but there's a lot of similarities between this and the one on the ST, and I actually prefer the look of the Cheetah RR. However, this one is maybe slightly more accurate, the Synthetic Z. It's the right number of sets of spokes and they're almost parallel. So really you must decide which one you're going to go for. I'll go with this one. There's no wind deflectors. No, the smoke is quite dark, so I'm going to take it off. But bear in mind the smoke also affects the headlights on the Comet S2, and the headlights look better with a light smoke, so up to you. So now we can have the fun and decorate the car. So the primary colour is a crew colour. This one's taken me ages and so many reboots of the game to get it right. But I'm pleased with this now. So there is the crew colour. All we have to do is choose a pearlescent. After all, it is shore blue metallic. Well, I don't think it wants anything too bold. And I think even by the time you get to dark steel, it might be a bit much. So black steel or anthracite. I think we'll go black steel on the pearl. Certainly wanted to keep the pearl a neutral colour. Secondary colour is doing, among other things, the brake calipers. And on this particular car, they're black. I'm pretty sure it's also doing the stitching. Well, black's going to be fine for that as well. So classic black secondary. Trim colour. Now this is quite important because the shore blue metallic cars came with the Heritage interior. No choice. And I think it's a lovely interior anyway. Now, I've got it down to somewhere between, let me find the right colours, Feltzer brown and maple brown. They both look pretty close to me. But overall, I think this maple brown colour, that does it for me. So maple brown. The other one is accents. Now, in the old days, when Porsches had dials like this, they used to have yellow a lot of the time, and that's why I put race yellow on here. Of course, it's a digital instrument pack on the ST, and it'll be green at low revs, red at high revs, and so on. So nothing is therefore particularly right. So you could just go for white, you could go for the yellow like this, you could go green, red. I don't think it matters. It's up to you. You have a few choice of external graphics on the car, and you can apply these to your 911 ST that you're building. So as you can see on the shore blue colour, you could have a empty white roundel with the Porsche lettering. You could have the same but with 63 in it, referring to 1963. More of that later when we drive the car. You could just have the white Porsche writing, or you could even have none of it. So don't feel you have to have an emblem on the car. And whilst I'm going to put one on, I might actually take it off and go for the one on the bottom left here, just with the writing later on. But for the moment, I'm going to try both. So I'm putting on here my crew emblem, which is of course really the 01 for the General Lee, but I do sort of think it works. But I say you have options. The delivery is really easy. It's the white Vista stripe. There's nothing else that works as well as this does. The shape and everything, and also the fact that the crew emblem cuts into it is perfect, because so does the roundel on the real car. So that completes the build. So I really like this build, and I love having it in the garage, but you know what I'd like more is to have the car in real life. I think it's pretty much was an invitation only car to buy. I'm pretty sure they must all be sold out as well. They're only making 1,963 because the 911 came out in 1963. And it's a bit of a stunner. It's a slight departure from some of what we've had before. Firstly, in the understatement, yes, it has plenty of carbon fibre on the car, but it's all been painted. It's not full of wings and splitters and all the rest of it. It's really rather subtle, especially if you ordered it, for example, in black or silver. I wouldn't, I'd order it like this. But there's more than that. It has a GT3 RS engine, the 4 litre, but it's going through a 6-speed low ratio. Oh, that's low ratio for Porsche. Anyway, transmission. There's a lightweight clutch and a single mass flywheel. Now I know all that makes it a bit trickier to drive. It was in the recent Evo magazine Car of the Year, which I always enjoy reading over several breakfasts. I'm not going to tell you where it came in case you're a subscriber and you haven't read it yet. Obviously it did very well. There were a number of comments, of course, that it was a bit tricky to get the hang of with the engine revs just dropping the second you let go of the accelerator because of the single mass flywheel and a few other things. But needless to say, they soon got to enjoy it and they soon got to love the car. So absolutely stunning. I think the subtle looks, the GT3 RS performance, but really made into more of a understated road car, something really, really special. So if you do crew colours, I highly commend this to you. But you know, if you can't, go on the Porsche website, configure this car yourself, because you don't have to have it in shore blue with roundel and white wheels. There are other colours that it comes in. Not that many, but there are a few. Hope you enjoyed this. Give it a like if you liked it, sub if you like real cars in GTA. But above all, thank you so much for watching.